Hello there. First I want to mention to you about the string length. If you're going to be using beads about the size of the 8 seed beads or 4mm faceted beads, I recommend that you start with about 3 feet of string, and then in the beginning of the next square of our cube, I will show you how to figure out a more accurate size length of string to use for your squares. But I recommend that you start with about 3 feet. Now if you're going to use the very small seed beads, I recommend maybe 1.5 feet to 2 feet of string, because they are much smaller than the beads that I use. Now in this video I would like to talk about beads. I have always used faceted beads. I started out with the plastic, and you can buy a lot of plastic for about $1. There's a 200 plus here. Then I got into other kinds of faceted. There are seed beads, which you can see that is a decent number you can get for $1. And then there are crystal, which you can see you can only get about 4 of the round 4mm crystal. Then I found out about bicone crystals, and those you can get quite a few more than the round because they use less crystal, but they work just as well for my pieces as the round do, so I have switched to the bicone crystal when I want to use crystal beads. And now I have started using these seed beads. I use the size 8 seed beads, and you can see you can get a decent number of them per $1. So these are the beads that I primarily use. I design with my plastic faceted beads because there are only 36 colors that I use, which are the transparent colors, and they don't have any what's the word I want, coating on them, or different mats or things. They're just one color. So that makes it very easy and simple for designing, and that's what I prefer. Then when I'm going to use another type of bead, I just compare the colors and pick out colors that I like for the piece. Now with my patterns, I have doilies, and with those I have used, of course, the plastic faceted beads, the glass faceted beads, and the crystal faceted beads. I've also used Delica seed beads, and then size 8 regular seed beads. But with the doilies, you can also use a wide variety of beads. Here are 2 different size crystal beads, or glass beads actually. Here are some longer beads. And I've even gotten fancy and made them with even irregular shaped beads. Now for more information on what types of beads work well with my doily patterns, please check out my basics video that goes into helping you find the beads that will work well with the doily patterns. Now with my 3D patterns, I have of course used my faceted beads, but I've also used seed beads. And here is another set. Here, oops. Okay. Here I've used my faceted beads and seed beads. This is my butterfly piece. And also with my candy canes, I have used my faceted beads and seed beads. So with my 3D patterns, I have found both my faceted beads and the seed beads work well. With my faceted bead art pieces, the teeny-tiny squares that are used in the 3D patterns work well with the seed beads. However, I found with larger pieces, like this one here, which is done with faceted beads, when you do it with seed beads, it starts to tilt. So as you get larger with the faceted bead art pieces, the seed beads don't work as well. They tend to warp a little or lose their shape in the stitching. So I can't recommend seed beads for my large faceted bead patterns, but I can recommend them for both my doilies and my 3D patterns. I hope that you will enjoy making my pieces with faceted beads or seed beads, or if you pick a doily, invent, enjoy, find all kinds of beads to use with it. Like I said, just visit my beginner's video and it will help you determine whether a bead is good to use with the doilies. Those patterns are very versatile, but there are some beads that won't work. So I hope you enjoy making lots of beaded pieces, and happy beading!